Welcome everyone to episode 55 of the Bunker Talk. Super excited to have my new friend here. We don't know each other that well personally. We've crossed paths a couple times, so I'm excited to have this conversation in real time here with everyone. Tell everyone about yourself, Sam, who you are, what you do.
Thank you. My name is Samah Abukhodeir. I am the founder and managing partner of the Florida Probate and Family Law Firm, where we help families going through the toughest times of their life, death, and divorce. I started the firm 7 years ago, a little over 7 years, and I have grown it from just myself and a part-time law clerk to almost 50 team members, which is crazy. Wow. We have 9 offices throughout the state of Florida. Our main office is in Coral Gables, Florida. And we have some other offices, obviously, and we're still growing. We're going to be opening up a few more offices in the state of Florida, probably at the end of this year or maybe next year. And yeah,
I love that.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, just pretty much it. First question right off the bat, why probate and divorce?
Sure. So when I was in law school, I met my husband in law school. And we both practiced together, which I'm sure we'll go into detail about later.
You guys are so fun together too, because I've met you guys individually, and he's a good time. Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah,
He's funny.
He is funny,
and I'm not.
No. I doubt that.
So when I was in law school in my 3rd year, I had tried different areas. So I did immigration, I did criminal defense, I did IP. I'm trying to think. I did a whole bunch of different things because I didn't know what I wanted to practice. And my husband, who was not my husband at the time, was like, Sam, I just finished an internship with the probate judge, the administrative probate judge. I actually think you're going to really like this area of law. Try to get an internship with her because it was for credit hours too. Mm-hmm. So it was like a class. So I begged basically to get this internship because I got denied 3 times. They were completely full. And then my mentor made a call and I was able to get an internship with her. So through going to that internship my last semester of law school, I ended up getting a job while I was sitting next to her in the courthouse from another attorney. And that was my first job. So I got into probate that way. And then my last job before starting my firm, I was at a family law firm running the probate department. People had found out that I was doing family law. I was at a family law firm, and those referrals were just naturally coming in. And I'm also a huge marketer, huge networker. So family law just naturally came my way. And unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know what to say.
I'm around enough attorneys where I always hear that, like, family law is kind of...
It's tough.
It's tough, right?
It's tough. I think the probate, although you're dealing with death and inheritance disputes, it's a little more civil, in my opinion.
Wow.
The family side of things, when you're dealing with kids, when you're dealing with bitter exes, it's just like there's this emotional side of things that people just don't let go of. And anytime kids are involved, like minors, I'm not talking about adult children, it hurts a little bit more.
Right. That makes sense. And you have children of your own.
I do. So. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 16-month-old.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You're just a little busy.
Just a little.
Excuse me. You've also, fun fact, won the Inc5000.
Yes.
3 times.
Yes.
A three-peat. So we're definitely going to talk about that.
Yes.
When you started your firm, what was your vision? Like, did you think it was going to be this grand thing? How did you get here?
No. So I'm like looking away because I'm shy. I started the firm with no real idea of how a firm runs, what I wanted in terms of goals, what my vision was, what this would become. I am a food stamp and Section 8 housing baby. So the money mindset the money mindset issues are still here today, 7 years later. I didn't have any business sense. I didn't have any business knowledge. I had never taken a business class. So for me, I never imagined that I could build something like this. However, I've always been a straight A student, other than law school. I've always been very diligent, very hardworking. Started working when I was 11. So I always knew that if I did start something, which was not the plans, it just kind of happened, that it would be successful. Like I would make sure it was.
I love that. That's so good. I mean, what a testament to what willpower and like mental toughness can do, right? Without the background or the plus in life, right, of coming from a family that could make these dreams possible for you, right? Like you still made them happen. I mean, I guess even without knowing that was a dream.
Correct. And now that it has happened, I am extremely encouraging of people in similar backgrounds or even not in similar backgrounds. But when people tell me like, I don't know if I'm going to be successful, I don't know if I could build something like that, I'm always like, I didn't think that of myself, and look where we are today. So you can, if you put your mind to it and you do the work, anything's possible. And I know that sounds cheesy, but I believe it.
It's so funny because I'm on year 6 of this, and I've realized that it's almost like all of the cheesy sayings that you hear online and all those quotes that like are so cliche, they're so real.
They are.
It is so real. The if you put your mind to it, you will succeed. Those cliche sayings that even we've heard since we were younger, right? Like, and now as a grown adult, I realize, oh man, it really, like how you talk to yourself matters. No, it really does matter. It really does have an effect on you.
It
like,
does.
It's crazy how, I guess it's full circle, and those things actually really do affect us.
It does. And that's why social media is also super important, because if you're reading things that are negative, it's going to cause you to be more negative in life. If you're reading things that are uplifting, if you're putting yourself around people with good energy, people that are positive, people that are uplifting, it's going to make you better.
It's infectious.
Yes.
It's infectious.
Exactly.
So mindset on lock. Okay. I'm not going to fail, right? Like failure is not an option. No plan B, all in, right?
Correct.
What's the first step? What did you do? What give me the technical aspect of this growing a business.
So I'll take it back a little bit. So I was offered partnership at the last firm that I was at before I started my firm. The deal was not the ideal deal for me. My husband told me, invest in yourself, see what happens. So I essentially had, I gave as much notice as they needed. So I told them, I'm not going to give you 2 weeks notice to my ex-boss, whatever you need. She asked for 3 weeks. I'm like, absolutely, anything you need. And so in those 3 weeks, I set up my business banking account. I started, I created a logo. I got with a website person. I did all of like the essentials that I knew just from watching other people. And then I had already networked for a really long time. So I already had a network of people that I could reach out to and tell them, I'm starting my law firm. Please send me work. Whatever you come across, I will take. I will do a good job, X, Y, and Z. So I'm just thinking out loud. I also found a desk, which nobody really knows about, that I shared with my law clerk. It was just a desk in a beautiful Class A office of PI attorneys. My husband was also leasing an office within the big office, and I rented that desk for $600 a month. So I kept my overhead as low as possible. I also got practice management software called Clio. I purchased laptops. I purchased phones. Like right off the bat, like I just did what I thought was essential. And then I showed up at that desk with my part-time law clerk, and we just worked on the cases that we knew were going to transfer with us. And then I just kept marketing like a crazy person to get more work. And then it just naturally flowed.
And so we talked about it a little bit. The premise of the podcast here is for people that maybe are starting a business or struggling in their own business, don't have a network of support, don't know how to do these things, especially if they're new in business. Even this younger generation, right? With like the networking can be so challenging, right? And obviously maybe you were just good at it. Did you feel like you were always good at it, or is that a skill set that you learned?
I'm naturally an extrovert. I think now I'm a little bit of a mix. I think I've changed in having kids, being married, different priorities. I think now I'm like 50-50, but I think naturally it just comes to you. There are people that it's not natural. And it's really hard to pull that out of you because it drains your energy, right? I get energy from being around other people. So that's why I think it's natural. But I do think if you're starting your business, you have to figure out a way to bring in business. If you can't bring it in networking, you got to figure out a different way. Like that's the bloodline of your business. If you don't have business to work on, it's not going to survive. And
so, okay, you knew the importance of the essentials for the business and also obviously bringing in the business, right? So the bringing in the business is the challenging part for most people that get into this space of owning a business, right? Because it's like, how do you stop wearing all the hats, right? You're bringing in the business, then you're working on the business, then you're doing the selling, you're the prospecting, all that stuff. When did you know it was time to hire someone, like the next person?
That's a great question. So I knew when I wasn't able to do everything myself anymore, and I was up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning doing, drafting pleadings or e-filing things. I knew that this was not sustainable. I knew that earlier than when I hired. But again, going back to money mindset and growing up poor, although I didn't realize we were poor at the moment, like we always got everything we needed. So now as an adult, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like my parents busted their butts to make sure. I think it was a year and a half in that I was offered the opportunity to buy a law firm. And that came with acquiring not just the cases, but also the retiring attorney. So she did not want to leave the firm. So that I would say is essentially who my first real employee was. I got a paralegal before that, but it was a part-time paralegal. That was my first full-time. And that's when I was like, I'm really scared. Like I have to do, not a good job, but I need to make sure that this works, not only for myself, but for her, because she was also relying on me.
Wow. Yeah. And also a year and a half into making acquisition, that's tough. I would assume.
It's super scary.
Yeah.
It's super scary. And I mean, it took 9 months for us to negotiate the deal.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had attorneys that were working on my side and on her side. And it took 9 months for me to feel like it was risky, but I could do it. And same for her. Like when you mediate or you come to an agreement, both parties, there's going to be things that they're happy and unhappy about. And that's how I felt. I wasn't unhappy. I just felt like it was going to be a risk and I was scared, but it was one of the best decisions that I've made.
I love that. That's so fascinating too, because you're the first attorney that I have in the seat that has at least discussed an acquisition. So that's interesting because I don't know that I hear that a lot.
No, it's, they're hard to find. Number one. Number two, they can be very expensive if you don't negotiate or do it in a way that could be advantageous to you. And we thought outside of the box. So that's how we were able to come to a deal. When I did it, she was 81 years old. She's now 87 and she's still with my firm.
Oh, I love that. That's so fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's also great I'm assuming for recruiting new talent, right? Because you have someone there that is basically an encyclopedia of law at this point, right? Like
she's our mentoring attorney.
Right. Makes
so
sense.
It's like anytime you have a question about anything, you can call her at 2 a.m. and she's answering.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And what a great way for her to leave a legacy too. I'm sure that's checking a big box for her. That's awesome.
It is.
Okay. So you acquire, you got the networking down. I'm sure with acquisition comes, the details don't matter, but at some point you're hiring more, right? And obviously you continue to hire, you're scaling. You're obviously good at delegation.
I wasn't.
I was going to say now. How were you always or
no
struggle? That's a personal question that I'm asking.
Yeah.
How do I get there? Like, how did you learn?
Oh gosh.
We could do a whole episode on delegation.
Yes. So when you are in my opinion, a true type A, it's really hard to delegate because I feel like I can do everything perfectly. I can do things the right way. There's not going to be as many mistakes or any mistakes if I'm doing it myself. I don't have to spend time telling somebody how to do something that I can just do myself. That's going to be much quicker.
All of those things.
Also investing time into teaching somebody and then they might not work out. Like these are all the things that went through my head. Right. However, what I realized was if I continue doing things the way that I'm doing them, I'm never going to grow. I cannot answer the phones. I cannot draft the pleadings. I cannot be in court. I cannot be at a networking event. I cannot be doing payroll. I cannot be worrying about clients paying their bills. These are just like 6 things, right? And I was doing all of these things. So I realized through coaching, through business coaching, that if I wanted to scale, if that was my vision, if that was my goal, I needed to step back in certain areas. And so I got a business coach, my fractional CEO, and I also started doing what's called EOS.
Oh, traction.
Yes.
Yes. I read the book.
No way.
Yes.
Okay. So I say this and everybody's like, it's foreign.
No. I have it out there. I have the book out there. I read it. Okay. I just haven't been able to implement it at my size. I read it when I first opened. I should probably revisit it because I know even down to running a meeting.
I'm going to invite you to my lunch and learn.
Oh, I would love to go.
And it's about EOS.
Yes. Yes.
So my implementer / integrator is going to be there. I'll invite
Please,
you.
Yes. Put me. I'm RSVPing. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And it's at a steakhouse. So it's a free steak lunch.
We love a good lunch.
Yes. Food is life.
Yeah. I love to hear that though.
That
continue.
Has been a game changer.
Yeah, I've heard.
I'm glad that you speak my language.
Yes, yes.
So EOS is a system in which you grow your business and you structure your business for management. And so when I was able to then find the people on my team or hire the people to be on my team that could take different managerial positions, that helped me delegate and take more off of my plate. So I've gone from doing everything to now 7 years later, I don't go to court. I don't practice law. I completely manage the firm. Now, do I know what's going on in cases? Abso-freaking-lutely. Like one of my associates was in court in Tampa yesterday telling me what was going on during her hearing. We had a trial the day before. Like I know what's going on in almost all of the cases at my firm, but it's not me going to court. It's not me speaking to the clients. I'm fully managing. I'm fully, I sit in the CFO role, which I really love. I love finances. I sit in the marketing seat. So bringing in business, figuring out different ways of bringing in business, networking, all those types of things. And then recruiting, like it's a full-time job. So those are my main roles right now. Everything else I delegate, which is crazy,
which is amazing. And it's obviously working.
So I'd like to think so.
Yeah. Well, you
some days
listen, there's still room for error, right? Yeah. But I've heard that the success also in delegation is the audit on the back end, right? Like if you're delegating, you have to be checking it or have to have a system or a stopgap somewhere in a process where it's like, have you heard of the, I think it's Van Halen, the band, obviously the band, with the brown M&M theory?
No.
Okay. It might be Van Halen. I got to figure it out and I'll be sure to correct myself if it's not them, but it's basically like they were on tour, and when they would take the tour to different cities, the way they would know if the people that were building the stages and taking them apart and building them at the next city, if they're following the process of the stage building, they had an extensive checklist. It was like, let's say 147 steps. And in the middle of it, like right where your people are like exhausted by the checklist, there was a step to make sure that there was a jar of M&Ms in the room, in like the backstage, but all of the brown M&Ms had to be picked out. So when they would walk into the green room or to their backstage room and they would see that there was brown M&Ms in the jar, they knew they didn't follow it. They knew that they didn't follow the checklist.
That's insane.
Right? It's insane. But I
kind of love it.
But also, like that was their safe word, basically, and they wouldn't get on stage because they knew the people were not detailed and they didn't follow the process.
That's insane. But that's a genius way of figuring it out.
Right. So then it's like in my industry, people always say like if you're going to delegate stuff, and it's the rise of virtual employees too, You need to put the brown M&M step into your process to know that they're doing things the way you want them to, and the way you expect them to. Blew my mind. That concept.
That is insane. That makes total sense.
Right? Because at scale, how do you make sure that people are living up to something like that?
Delegation, having the right managers, having policies and procedures in place, having like a wiki for the company so that when people come in, they can see how to do things, but it's already there, right?
Right.
That's what we've been trying our best to do over the last couple of years. And just having the right people. People and culture are everything.
Oh, that's one of my questions about.
I'm jumping ahead.
Well, because I mean, it's the natural progression of it, but like, it's so difficult. The human factor of a business is the hardest, right? Law can be taught, insurance can be taught, making a pizza if you own a restaurant can be taught, right? But it's the managing of the people and the personalities and trying to get, I mean, at your size, different locations, how do you get people to buy into this culture?
That's a great question. So at the previous firms that I was at, and my husband as well, the culture was not what we would have wanted to create for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So when we created the firm, I always said I wanted to create a culture where I would want to go to work, where I would not have the anxiety that I had before, where I had to, I've never really said this out loud to anyone other than my family. I would wake up and have to throw up every morning, not because I had an eating disorder, not because, anything, with food. It was anxiety. Mm-hmm. And as an adult, I had it as a child too. As an adult, I realized that is a horrible way to wake up every day. Right. It affects you emotionally. Mm-hmm. It affects you physically. It starts your day off on the wrong foot. There's so many things. And when I went to therapy and I started to realize, it's anxiety, right? Stress and anxiety. I was able to manage it naturally, right? And so I never wanted anyone to work at my firm and feel that way. Wake up and have anxiety. Wake up and have this bad feeling in the pit of their stomach.
To start your day with that impending doom is not healthy.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy.
And it's also if somebody were to tell me, Sam, I'm not enjoying it, I would be the first person to tell them, okay, then this is not the right job for you. We will find you something that makes you happy, right? I don't want you to be here unhappy. Thankfully, that hasn't happened very often, if at all. So to go back to your question, benefits was huge. So we offer essentially government level benefits. We, off the top of my head, we pay for health insurance, life insurance, short-term disability, long-term disability, HSA, PTO. We do a trip every year for the entire firm to build the culture. We do education reimbursement if somebody wants to go back to school or take a course or anything like that. We pay for all networking. We do lunches, breakfasts, dinners. We do quarterly team building exercises. We do 401k with matching. I'm missing stuff. But I wanted to build something where people were like, I'm getting something out of this job, right? We're already, this is controversial, but as employers, I have this guilt of we're already using people to our benefit, right? We're billing them out at a certain rate. We're making a profit on them. So if we are going to make a profit on them, I want it to be as fair as possible. I want them to feel like they're receiving a benefit. So benefits is huge. That's how we're able to recruit a lot of people. Something else that's huge that is personal to me is I knew I wanted to have kids. So I know a lot of people, previous firms, that were not looking at hiring women in childbearing ages. Most of my firm is women. Most of them are childbearing ages. With my first son, one of my associates was pregnant and giving birth a month after me. With my daughter, my second child, I gave birth on the same day as another associate. So we've built it in a way that if you're going to be leaving for months on maternity leave, first of all, we do family leave. So whether you're a mom or a dad, you're getting paid leave. But also, I don't want you to stress about coming back. You can work from home. We have work from home schedules. We have hybrid schedules. It's up to you. I don't care where you work from. But I knew that is not offered at other firms. So I think that also makes us stand out.
That makes sense too, because it's our industries are not very different, especially in this concept of women in the industry, right? In ownership, there's not a lot of women. It's usually older men.
Same.
Same. We have that very much in common, and I've heard that multiple times actually, and I know that it's natural that even to attract the younger, the graduating attorneys out of school. I mean, they're not running to those firms of, the strict old guy running it. It's just they're not going to do it.
And you're absolutely right. But what I've realized, especially this year, is that everyone is now required to go back into office. So we're one of the only firms that allows people to work from home or work from wherever they want. And, we help as much as we can. But most firms have gone back to the traditional method of having people in office because there's this fear that if they're not in the office, they're not doing the work. But there's different ways of measuring if people are doing their work. We work by a billable hour. If they're not reaching their hours, we have a conversation. But luckily, that doesn't, we're very blessed is what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, I think too, to your point on like using, right, the employees, and I understand that concept and the guilt of it. If you're given as an employee that runway of trust, the majority of them won't take advantage of it because they don't want to lose it.
Correct.
They don't want to lose it, and they respect you enough because you inherently automatically trust them, right?
Correct.
You're giving them the best possible scenario, and it's up to them, really. So I've seen that, and it's so funny too, and I think that's part of the culture conversation. It's like, why does the remote work in some businesses and in some it doesn't, right? Like I think there's a layer of there's obviously a layer of accountability as well. So then how do you factor in, accountability? I think sometimes it's looked at negatively or like discipline. How do you view accountability? How do you do it? And how do you do it in a way that's like positive?
We are very trusting, number one, basically what you just said, but we're able to measure. We have dashboards for everything. So our management dashboard, I'm able to see everything that's going on at any given time. So I can hold people accountable by all of these measurements that I'm seeing on a daily or on a weekly basis. But what I've realized is I don't need to necessarily hold people accountable. They hold themselves accountable because of what you just said. They know that we are, and I hate saying this, that we're providing them a healthy work environment, a happy work environment. And so I think people just appreciate that and are more accountable for themselves rather than having to wait for us to be having a conversation about accountability. We rarely need to have those conversations, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thanks,
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So then tell me, this Inc5000, what is it? How do you qualify for it? What made you want to, I don't know, are you voted? Are you, what is that, sponsored?
No. So I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. You have to be of a certain revenue level. I think it's 2.5 million in revenue. And you have to give 3 years, don't quote me, but I think it's 3 years, 3 years of revenue. So the past 3 years, you have to have grown by a certain percentage every single year. And you have to be at the 2.5 when you apply or more, I think is the rules, but they change. And so we've made it the last 3 years. It's an award that awards the fastest growing companies in the United States. So there's some big names in there. So it's truly it's an honor, number one. And it's also a blessing that 7 years ago I created this company, and it's been on the Inc5000 fastest growing companies in the United States for 3 consecutive years.
Almost
like that,
half the time.
That's insane.
That's amazing.
It is.
What besides everything that we've discussed, what do you think, if you're willing to say it, your secret sauce is?
Oh gosh, I've never been asked that.
Because I mean, we have to recognize that that's not the trajectory that most businesses can accomplish.
No, you're right. And I feel like it's been harder, but maybe it's just in my head. I am Palestinian American. There's not very many Arab women attorneys. And so I feel like my diversity has really helped in growing the firm, in attracting talent, in attracting clients, because one of our core values, I shouldn't say core values, one of the things that we talk about, right? Like a value of our firm is that no matter your background, religious, cultural, sexual orientation, anything like that, right? We have somebody at our firm that, you know, might be able to connect with you better than somebody who's not of similar background, right? And so I think that's been able to be our secret sauce, that we're able to attract people that normally wouldn't feel comfortable going to another attorney because they're scared of judgment. So that has helped us a lot. I think because I stand out because I'm different, that has also helped us a lot. We have a really good reputation in the Florida community, especially in South Florida, I would say, and in Central Florida. So the judges respect us. They send us cases. They appoint us on cases. And we're known for being that firm that offers diversity. We have, to be specific, we have Muslim attorneys, we have Christian attorneys, we have Jewish attorneys. We have a Pakistani attorney, a Palestinian attorney, a Puerto Rican attorney, a Cuban attorney. Who am I missing? Oh gosh. We have people that obviously speak Arabic, Spanish, English, French. So I think when you put all of these things together, and I'm missing other diverse factors, but when you put all of these things together, most people who call in, you know, I'll see it in the notes. They'll be like, I want to speak to so-and-so because we come from the same place, or we come from the same country, or they'll understand the cultural norms or whatever. So I think that's our secret sauce.
Honestly, I think you're right. I mean, I think you're right because of how you started the episode, right? It's two of the most difficult transitions in someone's life, a divorce or a death. And having someone that you culturally feel comfortable with matters.
Absolutely.
It's like it goes from talking to a stranger to talking to your grandma or your aunt, you know, and having them help you through this. I 100% believe that to be true. It makes sense because of the sensitivity of the areas of law that you practice.
Correct.
You know, like if I need a business attorney, it's not the same, right? Like I could use a business. I don't need to have that emotional connection from a business attorney, but
I agree.
It's so sensitive. These matters, you know, these transitions in lives are so sensitive and so emotional and so heavy that having someone that understands, you don't have to like explain the background of
Correct.
how you were raised. You know, it's a given because most likely they were too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's exactly what you just said. You don't have to re-explain something, right?
They just get you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They get you, they get your culture, they get why certain things are done a certain way. It's and I get it. Like, I get it. Being Arab American, there are things that I'm sure somebody would be like, well, that's strange.
Right. And also it's a thing of even the money mindsets, like you were talking about, right? Culturally, they change. They're different, right? However, you know, I was raised is different than the way you were raised. And even though my dad was an immigrant to this country, I mean, they have their own traumas with money mindsets, or they don't, right? Like my dad actually has left corporate America at 49 to open a business because he was tired of working for the man.
Good for him.
You know, and so he, you know, but his dad came from Cuba, walked into a bank and on a handshake got a $600 loan to start a tow truck company.
Wow.
Right. So it's like everyone has their own version, but my story is not very different from any other family that came from Cuba in the 70s. Right. We have similar backgrounds. So that point of connection really does matter in in that space. I love that, by the way.
Thank you.
That's super unique and something that you definitely should be proud of. I love that.
Thanks.
Okay, so then you apply for this, you win it. What happens after that? Like, I know it's a big thing online, and like, is there pressure to continue winning it, or?
Absolutely, because when you apply every year, like, I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. It depends on who the applicants are, right? So if there's 10,000 or 15,000 people applying and they look at the 5,000 that have grown the most, right? And those are the ones that are awarded. But we've been very lucky. And after you're announced as a winner, there's a conference that happens with celebrity speakers, people that are known in the industry of business, right? And growing businesses. And then there's a gala, which we just came back from the gala in Phoenix. It was last weekend.
Nice.
And you get to, have a really nice dinner, and you get to take nice pictures, and you get to network with different people. So it's just really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
really
And
cool.
congratulations to you and your team. I'm sure it's hard work.
Thank you.
It's hard work. All right. So let's get into a little bit of the law part, right?
Sure.
Probate. This is not legal advice, but just, how does the general public avoid probate?
Estate planning. Over 50% of the United States does not have estate planning. So when I say estate planning, a last will and testament, a trust, healthcare surrogate, durable power of attorney, and living will are like the basics. There are other things. If you have minor kids, you should have a pre-need guardian form. There's different things that need to be considered. If you have a child with special needs, you might need a special needs trust. I know that these are all foreign terms, right? But by having these documents in place and having a consultation, so the attorney will be able to create whatever plan is specific to you and your family, because no two plans are the same. That avoids your family having to go to court and fight over what's left behind. And it also saves them thousands of dollars, because I know it might seem expensive to do estate planning. However, the amount that you spend now on the estate planning is going to be a fraction of what your family is going to spend on a probate attorney down the line.
And not to mention the shredding of the family.
Yeah.
In the probate process.
Correct.
Because it destroys families.
It does, because you have, most of the time, there's different scenarios, but the ones that we see the most are a wife, the new wife, and the kids from the previous marriage fighting over dad's assets, right? We also see siblings, like parents leave behind whatever assets, like bank account, house, cars, jewelry, all this stuff, right? And you see these siblings who have been close, but then all of a sudden their parents die and they're fighting over the assets, and then there's no relationship anymore. And it's not just them, it's also their children. So all the nieces and nephews that were once close, no longer going to be close because the parents can't speak to each other anymore. So it's just all around terrible.
It is.
That is why it is extremely important that you do get your estate planning in order, because you don't want to leave that burden to your family to figure out later.
And it's interesting too, because speaking from experience, it happened in my mom's family and it was disastrous. You also end up spending everything you're fighting over.
Correct.
Like
the attorneys win.
The attorneys win. People don't realize, and it's such an emotionally charged situation, because you're grieving, but you don't have time to grieve because everyone's just grabbing at whatever's left. And in that process, there's nothing left. Everything. So literally you're fighting at nothing.
It's depleted because people aren't. It's funny. I've asked clients this question. Are you willing to spend every penny fighting this so that you're left with zero? Or do you want to maybe come to an agreement? And it's really bad. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, nope, out of principle. I want to fight this. Yep. I don't care if you as the attorney receive every penny. I don't want them to receive a penny. And it's like a moral like compass, because at one point you're like, I need to make sure that I'm fighting for the right thing. And usually, we do. I mean, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And we're guiding them. So even when they do tell us that, we're still pushing and trying to encourage them throughout the process. Like, listen, this is a good deal. This is not a good deal. Right. And again, 9 times out of 10, we're able to settle before anything, before any trial, before any huge hearings, anything like that. And when we settle, that saves a ton of money as well. Mm-hmm. So I do feel like we're doing good work. It kind of sucks that we have to litigate for so long to be able to get to some sort of resolution, but sometimes we're able to resolve from the very beginning. You just never know. It depends on the people and the family.
Right. It depends how mad people are.
Yeah.
It's also too, like, probate can take years. People just don't know. And so it happened to us when we owned a prior insurance agency, and we were in shock that my dad didn't have business experience. We opened a business. My mom worked for Equifax all of her life. They fired her. And so she ended up coming to work there. I was out of college and I worked there. And still, even in business, we learned the lesson of probate through experience. It's wild that no one had told my dad, not a friend, nobody, hey, you have a business now. You have a home, you own this. Like, maybe you need like an estate. Like, we learned it by fire. And that's when they went and did their probate, their estate planning. And the fire it lit under us as insurance agents, right? When we would hear they have a second property, they have a third property, and I have a stepson. Well, do you have your estate done? I used to be in a BNI, and I was like one of the number one referrers to the estate planner in the group. That's because great. I was personally burned by that, and it was traumatic for my family and my mom. And I just can't believe how many people don't know about it. And I think they assume it's for something of people that have extreme wealth. And it's not. I would imagine that it's worse for the ones that don't have a lot of money, because you don't have much. All you have is that. And then it would evaporate in seconds of probate.
Correct. So I think that people know it exists, but they're too afraid of spending the money or the time, and surprisingly, having to come to terms with death.
Right.
So people will always be like, I'm just scared to talk to you because I don't want to do this and then turn around and die. And I feel like if I'm putting it out into the universe, then something's going to happen to me. And I'm like, oh no.
But that goes back to even the cultural thing of the importance of having the conversation with someone that understands that. Correct. Right? Like, I'm bringing on the jinx of talking because I'm talking about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like the bad juju.
Correct.
And it's like, no. This is good juju. This is planning in advance.
Yeah.
This is not putting into the universe that anything bad is going to happen. This is helping your family. This is saving thousands of dollars for your family. Like, how are you not understanding? Maybe it's the way we communicate as probate attorneys and estate planning attorneys. I don't think we scare people, but by the same token, if we don't scare them into doing this, then it's all going to go towards the attorneys.
It's the same thing as a life insurance sale.
Yes.
You can't talk, don't even talk to me about life insurance because I'm going to die.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
So I'm very familiar with it, but we would tell people our story. We'd be like, well, listen, we went through it and it was disastrous and it shredded the family and it was awful. It was awful. And so it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you own a home, you need an estate.
That's it. You need an estate plan.
You need an estate because the state is going to... I just think that people don't know the consequences of not having it. Why do you want the state to win?
Correct. You don't want other people making the decision of how your assets are distributed. You want to have that power even after you pass as to what happens to what you worked so hard for your entire life. And more important than just the house or the bank account that's left behind, if you have minor kids, that to me is irresponsible not to have an estate plan. When you have minor children, you do not want somebody else making the decision of who your kids are going to go to and who is going to be responsible for their finances if anything were to happen to you. What if your parent who has not been able to save or understand the concept of money, right, has to be responsible for your child, and the money gets depleted like this? Like, that is not your intention. So that's what we try to explain to people. We try to tell them how important it is. Even if you don't think you're rich, You're rich. You're rich in different ways. And I don't say that lightly. I say that because you want to be in control of who receives what. You've worked hard. You make that decision. Don't let the state do that.
And I think, too, that's part of the problem. It's having that conversation of, well, if I leave my kids to my sister and not my brother, that whole opening Pandora's box of addressing those questions or one set of parents over the other. I think that even like when there's
it's difficult
split families, right? And there's a new wife or a new husband and there's stepkids, you don't want to get anyone upset. Like it is all the more reason why it needs to be handled with side by side with a professional that can navigate the conversations for you. Because they're difficult conversations for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Fascinating. I'm so fascinated by that stuff. I think because it was so personal for us and it really did wreck our family. Maybe I should have just become an estate planning attorney.
Yes.
Or maybe I'm in the wrong profession.
No.
And so then the other side of your practice, the divorce. Talk to us about that. Like
the fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, divorces are going up, I'm assuming.
I think so. There are many different statistics on this. So I can't confidently say that they're going up or they're going down. The last one that I read said it was going down, right? I can't confidently say that because we are working on more divorces and family matters than we've ever had in the past and right now this year. So we have grown tremendously in our family law department, which is why we're constantly hiring and adding people to the team. So yes, I mean, I think just from a practical standpoint, there are a lot more family issues.
Right.
Maybe it's not just divorce.
I was going to ask that question too about like when, obviously, and I know this is a loaded question, so you can tell me that too, but just like, are people calling you like, hey, I think I need to get a divorce? Or like, when should someone seek counsel?
So yes, the answer is yes. People are calling ahead of time to plan in advance, which is actually great. Even though we don't encourage divorce, my practice is very different. Maybe this is something else that makes us stand out. But for example, I had a good friend who called me weeks ago and he told me, Samah, I am contemplating divorce with my wife. We have 3 minor children. And these are the reasons why, right? And after listening to him for about an hour, I told him, this is not a reason to divorce. These are all things you can work out. I'm not going to be taking your case until you go to counseling. So a lot of what we do is we always encourage people to go to counseling. And if after counseling or if after marital therapy or whatever you want to do,
your version of that,
yes,
right?
Your version of it, you still feel this way, then we will have a follow-up conversation. Most divorce attorneys are not encouraging this. So I think that we build more goodwill with people this way. Also, I feel better about myself because
right.
Not that this is about me, but
right. No, but I understand that too, because I
don't want to be the person to be encouraging divorce.
Right. So I mean, listen, you sold me on that being a part of your secret sauce too, because it makes sense. It from what I've gathered from you, even just sitting here, that naturally is it's messy and it's negative. It's viewed upon as negatively, and you're like, you're not causing them, but you're aiding people in like the splitting of families. But really, first of all, it's inevitable at some point, right? Some of them are just too far to save, but if it's done in a way where it's family first and family centric, it's different.
Correct.
It's different. I'm sure you guys are not the attorneys that are encouraging like war and like cleaning people out. No.
I would say 85 to 90% of our cases settle in mediation or before trial, which is also not super common, I think. Some attorneys will encourage you to go to trial. Some attorneys will not push for a settlement. Some attorneys will just continue, doing what best suits them. And for me, that is not the type of energy I want. I don't think that brings on more clients. I don't think that puts out a good reputation. I think the more good you do, the more good comes your way. So yes, we are, to go back to your main question, I'm getting a ton of calls of people planning ahead, But not just with divorce, we have post-judgment action. So somebody's already divorced or had a paternity action and they're not complying. So we need to bring it into court and work out the details to see why they're not complying. Paternity is also huge. So a dad, has to go through the court system to be able to be established the father, pay child support, have time sharing, all those types of things. That's happening a lot. We're getting a lot of fathers calling us and saying, I want something in writing that is enforceable. I don't want to have to rely on her and her mood swings as to when I'm able to see my kid. That's not fair. I agree with that. Sure. Unless you're a crappy dad.
Right.
And not helping financially. And,
there's caveats.
Yes. We delve into that. There's also, besides paternity, post-judgment, divorce, there's also step-parent adoptions that we help with. There's also postnups and prenups. That's huge this year. I don't know how many calls we've gotten on prenups and postnups, which is not the norm, which means that people are planning. So
do you think it's our generation that we're more open to it?
I do.
Because I feel like my mom would have never signed on.
No. And I also think that our generation is more financially savvy. So we're children of immigrants, right? Our families most likely came with not very much. So by the time we're getting married, I got married in my early 30s. We've already established a book of business or assets or something. So there's something to protect. And that's why I think people are more open to it. And I do think prenups are extremely smart to get. I don't think you have to be rich to get them. I think it's a great way of avoiding litigation in the future. I also think if it's a blended family, it's also a beautiful thing to have because you're spelling everything out as part of your estate plan. A prenup is part of your estate plan sometimes. I just think it's smart. So yes, our family division is flourishing this year.
Is growing.
Yes.
What is your best piece of advice for someone that's in the market, right? Looking for a family law attorney to help them with any of these things. Like, what are the questions that the consumer should ask and to like interview an attorney?
Yeah. So I think about this myself. If I'm hiring an attorney, what are the things I'm looking for? I would ask years of experience. I would ask how familiar and comfortable you are working on the type of case that I'm looking to hire you on. I would ask what your opinion on my case is, right? I would ask, listen, can you look at this? Can you offer me 15 minutes as a consultation free of cost just to tell me what's going on? I would look for somebody who's familiar with the cultural norms, the religious norms. I would look for someone who I feel comfortable with. So regardless of all the other things I just said, the number one thing is feeling comfortable and feeling like they're going to advocate on your behalf. If you don't feel like your attorney is your, I don't want to say friend, but somebody who is going to fight tooth and nail for you, that's not the right person for you. You have to be confident and comfortable that the person you're hiring is going to fight for you. And if you don't feel like that from the very beginning, it's not the right dynamic. It's not the right relationship. It's not the right person for you. And that's okay. Go and find the right person that you feel comfortable with. But don't start off that way because it's going to be a recipe for disaster.
It's only going to get worse.
Yes.
As the case grows or,
correct.
Yeah. And again, in these two areas, you definitely don't want to feel like a number, right? You need to be, it's a white glove service area of law correct. Because so emotionally charged. Correct. I can talk to you forever. I can't even believe the time. Like, how has it gone by so fast? I have so many questions. But my last question for you, I want to be respectful of your time.
Sure.
What is the best piece of business advice you've received?
The best piece of business advice that I have received, it's multiple things, but to invest in SEO, which we didn't talk about, but
I didn't know that you were a guru at that. I'm starting to run Facebook ads right now.
Okay, that's super important to do SEO. Once you have the funds to do it, but I wish I would have done it much sooner.
Really?
And to hire, I don't want to say hire fast because it's actually hire slow, fire fast, but hire as soon as not when you think, but hire sooner than you normally would be comfortable with once you have the work. because had you done that, you'll be able to grow faster. You'd be able to scale if that's your goal. So 2 things that I would have done differently. Those 2 things.
It's interesting because it's doing the things that you've done, but sooner.
Yes,
like
exactly.
So it's almost like a part of it is also just eat the frog and make the mistakes sooner, because I'm sure you've made mistakes along the way with the SEO. That SEO space is very, very, very volatile.
Yes.
And
yes,
I don't know if
find a good company, which we have.
Yeah.
You have to find the right fit. There's a lot of SEO companies that don't know what they're doing.
So many of them. I say it all the time. Like, if you want to scam people, that space is where to go, because it's like, oh, well, it takes a year for you to see results, and then you're like 20 grand in the hole.
Yeah. That's why you have to also have the money to invest in these things.
Right.
It's not cheap to hire people, and it's not cheap to do SEO the right way. The right way. So those are probably my 2 biggest takes if I were to go back in time and restart my business.
That's so good. And there's no doubt, something that I've been, a personal identity crisis, I guess I'm having this year with my own business, is I'm actually really slow to make decisions, I feel. And I think that's, if I was to say here, I mean, I'm 6 years in business, obviously different industries, but what I've gathered from you is that you're quick to pull a trigger. You'll make decisions with speed.
Yes.
And I've had this revelation in my own reflections this year, and I realized, I think that's one of, if someone was asking me that question, my answer would be just mess up, just make the mistakes faster, get through it. You're going to make the mistakes, but speed. Business loves speed, whether it's good or bad. I mean, not that you want to be careless.
No,
right?
but you do your research, obviously, and you ask other people in the same industry that you're in. We didn't talk about this either, but we're part of mastermind groups. So every quarter we are meeting with different groups of people in our industry who are doing the things that we're doing, but sooner. So they might be bigger companies. So they're able to tell us, you should have done this a year ago, do it now. Right. So I'm able to learn and pull those triggers quicker because I have somebody else who's already done it that I'm learning from.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you're going to have to come back.
I would love to. Thank you.
You're going to have to come back. It was so good. Thank you so much for being so honest and vulnerable with us. And I really appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find you. And we'll leave all your information in the show notes. But
sure.
You want to tell everybody.
You can reach us at the Florida Probate and Family Law Firm. You can call us at 305-677-5119. You can also email us at info@flpfl.com. And you can find me on all social media at Lawyer Lady Boss.
It's so good. Your social game. We didn't even talk about that either. Like you guys are, you're running an impressive shop over there.
Thank you. We're trying.
Congratulations on all your success. You and your team.
Thank you so much.